What are you trying to say?
I don't know. Let's see. Okay. Welcome to Cliff Notes Continued, where we improvise the stories authors are too lazy to write. I'm Lucas Larson.
And I am Annanya George. Oh, that.
I don't know.
Okay,
I think that's
cool.
it. I think that's it.
That's it. That's our intro.
Okay. That's our intro.
Welcome. Haha. I beat you. I beat you to it again. Haha.
Okay. So, yeah, welcome to episode 5. And the book pick for this episode, I picked Lord of the Flies, where
Oh.
Andy's going to start off our Cliff Notes.
Okay. Let's go. Lord of the Flies explores the dark side of humanity. Why do you keep picking books that I want to read
You
in my
haven't
spare
read Lord of
time?
the Flies?
I have not. No. Explores the dark side of humanity, the savagery that underlies even the most civilized human beings. William Golding, the savagery that underlies the most civilized human beings. You'll see it in display today, my friends. William Golding intended this novel as a tragic parody of children's adventure tales, illustrating humankind's intrinsic evil nature. He presents the reader with a chronology of events leading a group of young boys from hope to disaster as they attempt to survive their uncivilized, unsupervised, isolated environment until rescued. Okay.
In
Go on.
In the midst of a nuclear war, a group of British boys find themselves stranded without adult supervision on a tropical island. The group is roughly divided into little uns, boys under the age of 6, and big uns who are between the ages of 10 and 12. Initially, the boys attempt to form a culture similar to the one they left behind. They elect a leader, Ralph, who, with the advice and support of Piggy, the intellectual of the group, strives to establish rules for housing and sanitation. Ralph also makes a signal fire, the group's first priority, hoping that a passing ship will see the smoke signal and rescue them. Major challenge to Ralph's leadership is Jack, who also wants to lead. Jack commands a group of choir boys turned hunters who sacrifice the duty of tending the fire so that they can participate in the hunts. Jack draws the other boys slowly away from Ralph's influence because of their natural attraction to an inclination towards the adventurous hunting activities symbolizing violence and evil. So I've got little uns, big uns, Ralph, Piggy, Jack, and some choir boys.
Cool. I don't have little uns. Let me write those down. Got it. Yeah, I got them too. Okay, hold on. The conflict between Jack and Ralph and the forces of savagery and civilization that they represent is exacerbated by the boys' literal fear of a mythical beast roaming the island. One night, an aerial battle occurs above the island. Dude, I really hope there's somebody in post like putting in a sound of gunshots. Tuk, 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 when we say, aerial battle.
I think your noises there are post.
What?
You gotta make the gun noises right now. That's the post.
I really hope that's like edited in. Do we edit this? I don't know.
Yeah, Andy doesn't know. He doesn't listen.
I don't. I really don't. And excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Annanya. That's my public name now.
Okay.
And a casualty of the battle floats down with his open parachute, ultimately coming to a rest on the mountaintop. Breezes occasionally inflate the parachute, making the body appear to sit up and then sink forward again. Wait, hold on. Ultimately, breezes a cage. What body?
From the battle, from your gun noises. You killed
Oh,
someone.
make it. Okay, got it. The sight panics the boys as they mistake the dead body for the beast they fear. In a reaction to this panic, Jack forms a splinter group that is eventually joined by all but a few of the boys. The boys who the boys who join Jack are enticed by the protection Jack's ferocity seems to provide, as well as the prospect of playing the role of savages, putting on camouflaging face paint, hunting, and performing ritualistic tribal dances. Eventually, Jack's group actually slaughters a sow and, as an offering to the beast, puts the sow's head on a stick. What's a sow?
I think a pig.
Oh,
I'm going with pig, like wild pig.
got it.
Yeah. Of all the boys, only the mystic. Okay, hell yeah. Some witchcraft. Only the mystic Simon has the courage to discover the true identity of the beast sighted on the mountain. After witnessing the death of the sow and the gift made of her head to the beast, Simon begins to hallucinate, and the stake sow's head becomes the Lord of the Flies. Imparting to Simon what he has already suspected, the beast is not an animal on the loose, but is hidden in each boy's psyche. Weakened by his horrific vision, Simon loses consciousness.
Simon's my favorite character right now.
Oh yeah, like finally it's starting to get interesting.
Yeah, right. No, it's funny. They started creating like a actual society, and now they ended up with like a very religious, mystical sort of leaning society. Interesting. Recovering later that evening. Oh wait, hold on. Does that mean that the author thinks like religion bad? That's interesting. Recovering later that evening, he struggles to the mountaintop and finds that the beast is only a dead pilot slash soldier. Ooh. Attempting to bring the news to the other boys, he stumbles into the tribal frenzy of their dance. Perceiving him as the beast, the boys beat him to death. Oh. Simon? They
Yeah,
kill Simon?
your favorite character is now
Bro,
dead.
come on. What is this? J.R.R. Tolkien?
Soon, only three of the older boys, including Piggy, are still in Ralph's camp. Jack's group steals Piggy's glasses to start its cooking fires, leaving Ralph unable to maintain his signal fire. I'm really just picturing Piggy as Millhouse and Ralph as Ralph.
Mm,
When Ralph and his group,
that's
appro-
called potent commentary. I'm so sorry.
oh yeah, very potent. When Ralph and his small group approach Jack's tribe to request the return of the glasses, one of Jack's hunters releases a huge boulder on Piggy, killing him.
Oof.
The tribe captures the other two Bigum's prisoners, leaving Ralph on his own.
Okay. Okay. The tribe undertakes a manhunt to track down and kill Ralph, and they start a fire to smoke him out of one of his hiding places, creating an island wide forest fire. A passing ship sees the smoke from the fire, and a British naval officer arrives on the beach just in time to save Ralph from certain death at the hands of schoolboys turned savages.
Okay.
Hmm. I would really have loved to read this, Lucas. This would have been a nice afternoon, and here we are.
You can still read it. You can see how accurate the cliff notes are.
But okay,
Ananya will be creating his own podcast called After the Cliff Notes.
Cliff Notes continued.
Yeah, the review of the Cliff Notes. So, yeah, we've got little ums, big ums, Ralph and Piggy. Piggy's dead. Jack, his choir boys, um, Cell was killed. Mystical Beast was a dead body.
Wait,
Simon
so
was a mystic,
every
and he's dead.
hold on. So everybody dies except Ralph. Ralph is the only one who survives, but he's on a British naval ship now.
And Jack.
Yeah, but Jack's still on
And
the
Jack
island.
and all of his savages.
Yeah,
I,
but they're still on the
I'm
island.
assuming they would just like rescue one small child and leave the rest.
Well, okay, hold on. A passing ship sees the smoke from the fire, and a British naval officer arrives on the beach just in time to save Ralph from certain death at the hands of the schoolboys turned savages. My thinking is British, being British, saw Ralph, who still has like a modicum of like societal normativity in him, and goes, "This kid is the only one here, while the rest of them are just plain and simple savages." And so they just left them there, thinking that that's where they belong.
Okay. Well, since I had the pick of the book, you start the improv. Chapter 1.
Chapter 1. Onto the naval ship. The seas were calm, much too calm. When the navigator of the ship realizes that they have reached a calm point in the ocean. Seeing this, the captain starts to fear that they may never get back to mainland Britain.
Looking up at the stars in the calm sea, we hear the creaking of the mass, and over the creaking of the mass and the call of the seagull, we hear we hear a small boy speak up, and he says, "Captain, sir, thank you for rescuing me. I can't believe we escaped those savages."
Between you and me, little boy, this ain't much of a rescue. The sea, she be calm, too calm. We might have to start our own society on this here ship.
And the little boy, there's a zoom in on the little boy's face while he immediately has PTSD and flashback.
Immediately, he looks directly into the camera and goes, "Congratulations, folks! It's Lord of the Flies 2 Electric Boogaloo."
And then the camera crew immediately falls off the boat because we've had too many cameras in these stories.
You think Ralph's the one going through PTSD? No, it's Lucas from last episode.
Yeah.
I can see your face right now, and you're literally like, "Thank God we did this."
And Ralph is now in the mess hall, scarfing down biscuits. The shipmate across the table from him is plotting the new society on the ship.
So the shipmate is holding on to a little condiment, like the salt shaker, the pepper shaker, some ketchup packets, and he's going, "Okay, so let's see here. This salt shaker's the new captain, and that's gonna be me because I want to be the captain. I've spent years on the sea, more years than the captain. I belong in that position. The captain needs to be overthrown, and I belong in this position." Ralph takes a bite of his crackers and he sees this guy talking and muttering to himself, and he walks up. "Hey, what are you doing?" "Ah, nothing. Just condimenting my food." Starts and pours like an inordinate, like too inordinate amount of condiments on his food.
And then while Ralph is taken about by the pile of condiments with the semblance of food underneath, he looks at the ship's mate's name tag, and it says Simon Senior. And
It doesn't even make any sense. Okay, man, let's go with it. Simon Senior, got it.
and Simon Senior is determined not to be the loser of the savagery, just like his mystical son.
That's not where I was taking it, but okay, we can go with this. Ralph, Ralph sees Simon Senior, and he has the camera zooms in on him again.
And Ralph's like, I just saw you fall off the ship. What is going on?
The second camera crew also trips and falls into the ocean.
Yeah. And I just see like a kraken tentacle take them down to the depths.
The captain sees this and goes, "Huh, the sea is supposed to be calm, but there's a clear beast underneath the sea."
The captain now decides to create two factions on the ship. He makes an announcement over the intercom, and he's like, anyone who believes in the beast under the ship, go to the front of the ship. And anyone who believes the beast is a figment of your imagination, go to the back.
So a line of people come to the front of the ship, and another line of people go to the back of the ship, while Simon Senior is just in the middle, going, "The beast is really a manifestation of our inner fear."
And the captain's like, yeah, you should be in the back.
Ralph is seeing all of this, and he's going, "No, no, this is happening all over again. No."
Chapter 2, Return to the Island.
Ralph, afraid of what has happened, sneaks out a little paddle lifeboat. Um, and in the middle of the night, while you hear commotion on the ship, we see Ralph paddling away from it as fast as he could by himself. And somewhere in the distance, maybe there's a fire aboard the ship.
And the ship, the boiler room has exploded, and Simon Sr. is rushing to the last remaining lifeboat where he meets the captain, and he throws the captain overboard, and the beast takes him with the camera crew.
Well, another camera crew. There's a third one so far.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, and so Simon looks at this and goes, "Huh? So it was not an aspect of my imagination." He jumps into the second lifeboat and he's paddling right behind Ralph. Ralph reaches days and nights go by, and we suddenly see Ralph asleep on on this little paddle boat, on his life rescue boat. But he's ashore on an island. We don't know which, but we do know it's an island.
Ralph wakes up groggy and stumbles onto the sand. He sees the second lifeboat next to his, but there is no Simon Sr.
Ralph, dude, I watched an anime recently, which is exactly like this premise right here. Um, um, there was one episode where it's just this premise.
Okay, hell yeah. That means it's
It's also
good. Good
yeah,
premise.
yeah. It's a great premise. Ralph is walking around this island. I'm gonna do the same fucking thing they did in the anime. Let's see where we take
God
it.
damn it.
Ralph is stumbling across this island looking for food or drinkable water, but he can't find any. And until at a certain point, he just falls face down into the sand. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a sack full of stuff gets thrown right in front of his face.
And while he's going in and out of consciousness, contents of the sack start to roll out. The first thing is a coconut with a bloody handprint.
I
Next.
did. Wait, hold on. Are you taking your shipwreck island story that you know of and mixing it in with the shipwrecked island story that I know of?
It's just Easter eggs, maybe. I don't know.
He opens his eyes, sees the coconut with the bloody handprint, and he says, "Jack, Jack, is that you?"
And the coconut doesn't say anything because it's a coconut.
Take that, Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
Um, uh, out of nowhere, we hear a disembodied voice being like, "No, you fucking pop it! It's a coconut. You break it up and you drink it. It's water. It has water in it. Drink it. Open it right now." And we see that this disembodied voice is actually Simon Senior, who's holding on to his own bag full of stuff.
With a bloody hand.
On the bag?
Yeah, Simon Senior's hand is all bloody and fucked up.
Okay. Got it. Cause Kraken.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
And so Simon Senior grabs the coconut, and because it has something that resembles a face on it, he tears up while he cracks it open, lifts Ralph's head, and forces him to drink the sweet coconut milk.
Uh, you call it coconut milk?
Yeah.
I call
Yeah.
it
What do you
coconut
call
water.
it?
Coconut
Okay.
water.
Okay. Coconut water. He drinks the coconut's contents.
He drinks the coconut juice. Uh, the moist juice of the coconut. Um,
And
and
um, then Simon Sr. looks down at Ralph and says, "We must avenge Simon. We must get revenge."
uh, out of nowhere, we see an arrow fly right in between Simon Senior and Ralph. Is that your arrow sound?
Yes.
Do it again. And we see like the back part of the arrow covered in like something that looks like a ribbon, but it's clearly moss. It's made of moss. And then Ralph seems to recognize what this moss looks like, what this moss is. He takes one look at Simon Senior and he just says, "Run."
Simon Sr. and Ralph, due to the amazing restorative properties of coconut milk.
No. The sultry juice of the coconut.
Yeah. Um, Ralph gets to his feet. Simon Sr. and Ralph just start sprinting down the sand while the sun is at high noon.
uh, Behind them, running right after them, are a whole bunch of savage little children with spears and bows, shooting arrows right over them. Do the sound again. Again, one more. One more. Okay. As Simon Senior and Ralph are running for their lives away from this, out into the clearing, they run into a little forest, and somewhere in the clearing of the forest, Ralph just somehow knows exactly where he is, and he sees a specific tree which he climbs up on top of, lending a hand to Simon Senior, and they all sit on a branch, and Simon Sr. begins to ask, "What are we doing?" As Ralph puts a finger on his mouth and goes, "No, no, 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 no. Quiet." And the sun begins to fall.
And while they're in the tree and the sun is setting for how long they've been in the tree, they can see in the distance the old burned down island. So the savages are expanding. The savages
Are
are starting
franchising.
to go island to island and soon country to country.
They're franchising. They've been bought by Pizza Hut.
Yeah.
The Lord of
And
the Flies meal.
yeah, the choir boy savages are multiplying at the rate of rabbits. And the savages are searching low but not high for
Hmm. And
Ralph and Simon Sr.
as they're searching, all we hear are just sounds of from coming from the savages. Sounds like ooh ooh ah tupapu di kapu ta ta. And Ralph looks over at Simon Senior and goes, "Oh, that's new."
Yeah. He's like, they have unlearned unlearned our tongue and now speaks in the new language. You gotta do it again.
Kapu pata padi da boo ba ba bari da do. And then all the savages look at each other and go, nod at the same time, and we see this one savage raise his bow up high. Ralph, oh no, they learned. And he starts shooting upwards.
And Simon Sr. and Ralph promptly grab the tree and ride it down like a fireman pole, like one on each side, and they're holding each other's hands.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah.
Like a father and son, you know?
Yeah. And they hit the ground, and the sun set. You can just see the last rays in the distance, and have Simon Sr. and Ralph on one side and a group of savages on the other side. While over here, the rustle of the leaves and the tightening of fingers on arrows. They pull back, and chapter 3.
the
chapter th-
Chapter 3, uh a discovery of a lifetime. So
and we go back to the charred island that was the original home of Lord of the Flies.
Jack, who has now, it's only been minutes since Ralph was first taken out of the island, rescued. Jack also mysteriously survived after the fires went out, and Jack is roaming around charred remains of the island. It turns out the topsoil was burnt off along with all the other huts that they've built of their own two hands. As Jack is trying to find some resemblance of his previous life, he notices a metal layer underneath the soil.
And he drops to his knees and immediately starts pushing away the dirt as fast as possible. And the metal that he can see keeps expanding and expanding. And he realizes that it's a tablet with mysterious writing that he cannot read, but he's determined to uncover.
So as he finds this tablet, he shakes it off. There are these little. Have you seen Night at the Museum?
Uh, One of them.
You know how like that tablet has like these little revolving buttons on them.
No.
Okay, so there are these revolving buttons on the tablet. uh, that whilst Jack shakes, suddenly comes all in one angle, and then the tablet starts glowing like there's never seen glow before, as the ground beneath him starts to shake. And when the ground starts shaking, we see a little tip at the corner of the island from outs see from outside the underneath of the island, and while it's coming raising up, we realize it's the Statue of Liberty. They're on planet Earth the entire time.
And while Jack cannot believe his eyes and thinks he might be hallucinating, he sees other lights in the night sky, and he realizes on each island there are other landmarks also raising from this ground. Chapter 4. Back to Simon Sr. and Ralph on their
As,
island. The
as
ground is
Simon,
shaking.
and then where they once stood, the land raises up above. Suddenly, before they know it, they're on the Big Ben. Their island was London the whole time.
And in the distance, they could see the Eiffel Tower on the other island. It was France the whole time.
Right where they saw the ship last, they see another raised thing, but it's kind of leaning. It was Italy the whole time.
And while Simon Sr. and Ralph are on top of Big Bed, they hear bing, bing, bing. They hear 12. It is now midnight.
uh
And
in the distance we see World War I fighter planes flying down and start doing an aerial battle.
and in the aerial battle, if you look closely at their tail numbers for signifying who they are, the red little ums are attacking the big ums,
Oh my god.
and it is a fierce dogfight.
Ralph looks over at Simon and goes, I did not know time works differently on each island. They advanced to such a point that they now have aerial equipment. They now have made planes.
And Ralph looks at Simon Sr., and Simon Sr. is like, yeah, it really depends a lot on what island you're on what advantages you receive.
So I wonder what advantages are on our island. As they
And
see a cave in the distance, ominously shining bright light from its interior.
Chapter 5, Into the Cave.
Into the cave. Simon Senior now has a peg leg for some reason. Uh, and they're using the wood that they made the peg leg from as fire as they're walking into the cave. And Simon Senior comments on it. We just used. Oh yeah, I just got this torch by breaking off my previously very long peg leg.
And he's holding Ralph to keep him steady on like over the shoulder. And Ralph is like, I can't believe you made a peg leg out of Big Ben.
and, and then Simon goes, yeah, and I turned the clock and I turned the clock hands into swords. Here, take yours. And he gives him the second hand.
so, yeah, so they're walking into the cave with long torch, holding like supporting each other, and swords made out of Big Ben.
Exactly. Yeah, as you would,
Yeah.
in this scenario. Yeah.
And the cave is sloped downwards, and
So-
Simon Sr. starts to hear a voice that just says, Papa.
and Ralph goes, "Don't listen to it, Simon Senior. It's the trick of the caves." And Simon Senior goes, "I'm gonna try, but this slope downwards doesn't seem very wheelchair accessible. Doesn't seem very
And
peg leg accessible." There we go.
yeah,
That's a better one.
not accessible. And the slope continues to get steeper and more slippery. And soon, Simon Sr. drags Ralph to the ground, and they are sliding down into the darkness, trying to maintain the torch peg leg. And Simon Sr. keeps hearing Papa louder and louder and louder.
Have you seen Scooby Doo 2 Mystery Incorporated? Mystery Unleashed?
No, but I imagine it's like all Scooby Doo's.
Actually, no, it's pretty cool. Um, One of my favorite Scooby Doo movies. In that movie, there's a scene where they ring a doorbell and it opens up into like a trap door, which ends in like them going over slides and everything and getting trapped in a big crystal ball. That happens, and they're now in a section. They're now in a section where Simon Senior and sorry, Pegleg Johnny and Ralph. Si-
Oh, he
Si-
now has a new moniker with his peg leg.
Sure. Pegleg Johnny and Ralph are in a ball, in a crystal ball with like a thumbprint attachment out the outside, and to his right, to his left, there are other people in little crystal balls. There are some that are just skeletons now. Then there's like the Girl Scout being like, "Hi, would you like to buy our cookies?" And then there's like a pizza guy on the other ball going, "Man, I just want to deliver pizza in my minimum wage job." And then there's like an accountant who's like, "Hi, my name's Lucas Larson."
And then Ralph turns to Simon Sr. or Peg Leg Johnny out, as he now likes to be called, and does the like most typical surprise face ever, and is like, "Oh my god, I thought London was just Big Ben, but all the interesting stuff is underground."
Yeah, just like real London. Uh,
Yeah.
oh, so maybe each island's what you call them before, the famous structures,
um, the
monuments.
yeah, monuments.
Each island's monument is like a hint at what that island contains, right?
Yes.
And so in this one, it has like a good collection of people and a more interesting underground. In the France one, they have catacombs as a difference. Um, but uh, but Ralph goes, well, if that's the case, then maybe we can find the king and queen of the islands and we can be out of here once and for all.
So Ralph gets up in the mystical ball, walks to the finger um, fingerprint reader, and tries his thumb. The ball goes red and makes a big noise.
And then Simon Senior goes, "Hold on, let me channel the spirit of my dead son." He sits. He tries to meditate, tries to channel the spirit of his dead son. Suddenly, his eyes roll back to the back of his head, and in a voice that is, sorry, Peg like Johnny, and in a voice that is like disembodied and really warped. Suddenly, we hear, "Try the pizza man's grease." Uh, To which then Simon Senior comes back and he goes, "Oh, that's right. Whatever the last thumbprint scan was that worked on the Pizza Man's box would be activated again through the grease."
Yeah, leaving fingerprints all over the place due to the greasy nature of their employment.
Exactly.
Okay.
So they drip the grease onto the fingerprint scanner, and it opens.
Chapter 6, back to the US with Jack.
Uh, Jack
Jack
has now. Oh yeah, go on.
Jack is now wildly rich and powerful in the US because he's extremely savage.
He seems to be sitting in a room that is not quite square, not quite rectangular, not quite circular either. In fact, it's really an oval.
Chapter 7, back to the ship.
uh, the ship they've all they everybody's dead, except for the once old captain and a camera crew without a camera, so they're not really a camera crew anymore. They're just a crew. Um,
And then you see the Kraken tentacles just take them all down to the depths.
again.
Yeah. And then,
They just made it on top. Oh, I'm so glad we escaped the Kraken. But then
yeah, then just takes it down. And and like a dinghy is like on the background, and you just hear the dinghy bell. And then chapter chapter 8, back in the UK, meeting the king and queen.
so the queen looks a lot like Piggy.
And the king looks a lot like Simon.
Simon's Ralph looks at Piggy and goes, "My love," while Simon looks at Simon and goes, "My love," both in unison. But they have very different kinds of love, right? Like one is parental and the other one's not.
Okay. And so Simon is looking at Peg Leg Johnny, aka Simon
Simon
Sr.,
Senior.
aka parental love. And Simon goes, I was a mystic, but I could have never foretold how this would turn out. Do the outro, Andy.
Okay. This is the outro, and I don't know what to say right now, but this is the outro.
Please subscribe. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Remember, we're bringing you the stories that the authors don't want you to know. I don't know. I was trying to make it something memorable for the out. I don't fucking know, dude.
Now you're overthinking it. You're just gonna be like, outro time. Thank you for listening to the stories authors are too lazy to write. That was
The outro?
yeah.
Wait, which part of this is the outro? I don't understand.
Oh my God.
I don't understand. Is this the outro? Is this the ending?
Everything is an ending, Andy. All beginnings are endings. We could just play the intro for the outro.
Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah.
Congratulations, you're now on our next episode.
Yeah.
We just don't have an outro.
Say nice things about us online.
And if you don't want to say nice things about us online, then give it to your friends so at least we can boost that engagement.
Yeah, share, do things. Hell yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet. Okay, I think we're good for the.
Oh my God.
Thank you for listening to episode 5 of Cliff Notes Continued. We'll be back on Tuesday, February 13th with a whole new book and a whole new story.